Trump administration policy of separating children from parents who illegally cross the border is now facing opposition from some Republicans. Here's Oklahoma Senator James Lankford addressing the issue in a call to a constituent.
What I'm making a request to the White House on is keep families together as much as we can possibly keep families together for as long as we can possibly keep them together.
Well, House Speaker Paul Ryan said today that he wanted the issue addressed through legislation.
We don't want kids to be separated from their parents. I think I just made that really clear.
And NBC is reporting that Texas Senator John Cornyn is planning on introducing a bill that will require that families be kept together while they are waiting for court proceedings. And today, Attorney General Jeff Sessions said the Bible provides a justification for his policy. Let's watch.
Obey the laws of the government because God has ordained the government for his purposes. Our policies that can result in short-term separation of families is not unusual or unjustified.
Well, here's how White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders responded.
It is very biblical to enforce the law. That is actually repeated a number of times throughout the Bible. But the separation of illegal alien families is the product of the same legal loopholes that Democrats refuse to close. And these laws are the same that have been on the books for over a decade. And the president is simply enforcing them.
However, there's no law that states that families must be separated at the border. It's happening now because it's a policy that the Trump administration initiated. I'm joined right now by MSNBC correspondent Jacob Sabaroff, who's been given access to the country's largest facility for those children in Brownsville, Texas. He described the facility, a former Walmart, as looking more like incarceration than temporary shelter. Let's go to you, sir. And my question to you is, what's it like, Jacob? What's it like inside there?
It's pretty chilling to go in there, Chris. I mean, again, they call it a shelter, but it feels more like a jail or a prison. And to hear the Attorney General say that it's not an unusual situation to separate children from their parents for a short period of time, I mean, that's absolutely untrue. It's completely unusual, and it's never been done before in this capacity. The reason there are now 30% of the kids inside that facility behind me, the old Walmart, 30% of the 1,500 kids in there that have been separated from their families is because of a brand new Trump administration policy to separate, prosecute, I should say, 100% of the people that enter the country illegally. And that results in the separation. The only reason there's an overcrowding crisis inside there, and now in Tornillo, the port of entry near El Paso, they're setting up a tent city, which we're finding out just tonight, is because there's not enough space because of this new policy. And so it's completely disingenuous for the Attorney General to say that it's not new. And same thing goes for the press secretary who stood up there today and said there's nothing new about what they're doing. This is new to the Trump administration. It has never been done in this way before.
You know, I've said this before, Jacob, but it has a sort of Sophie's Choice aspect to it, you know, from World War II and the Holocaust. I mean, pulling the kids away. What are the kids like when they want to see their mom? What do they do? Do they ask to see, can I see my mom? And the guards say, no, you can't. Is that what it's like? Just when kids want to see their parents.
The reality is there is no seeing your mom or your dad or your family members when you're inside here. You have the opportunity to call your sponsor if you are an unaccompanied minor and you showed up here without your parents. But if your parents were separated from you at the border, your parents are in federal prison right now. And the only way to get in touch with them is to have that federal penal institution get your parents on the phone, schedule a time to talk to you, and you don't know when you're going to see them again. The average stay in here is 52 days. And Chris, again, it's not unusual to have unaccompanied minors come into the United States. In 2014 and in 2016, we had big migrant crises where you had a lot of unaccompanied minors. But this is a self-inflicted wound from the Trump administration, a crisis created artificially by separating these kids down at the border, creating the overcrowding situation, crisis, separations that we're seeing right now.
Well, Jeff Sessions said today that the children in these facilities are treated well. Let's watch him.
This is HHS, our Health and Human Services, something entirely different from the criminal justice system to take care of these children in a good and decent and proper way. They are provided food and education in their native language, health and dental care.
Well, it's hot down there, isn't it, Jacob? It's hot. And they're talking about a tent city now with the people really living in the environment of Texas in the summer.
What the Attorney General said is not incorrect, but it's not the issue. The issue is not whether or not licensed child care professionals can give good quality care inside this facility to the children that are inside there. As somebody from the ACLU told me, you could send these kids to a 5-star hotel and they'd still be traumatized for their entire life from being ripped away from their parents. I mean, he's just deflecting. It's not about the quality of the care that's going on inside this facility, even though it is child incarceration, even though they are only allowed outside 2 hours a day, and for the other 22, they're inside the Walmart. Again, that is not new for what's going on inside facilities like this and the other 99 of them in 17 states throughout the country. It is the fact that the Trump administration has chosen to put a large amount of kids, more than ever before. This place is as busy as it's ever been, because the Trump administration has chosen as a deterrent strategy to scare people into not coming by saying, we're going to rip you apart from your kids. We know that prevention through deterrence, it was the official Border Patrol policy in the 90s. All that did was result in more people crossing through more dangerous ways and dying in the desert or here in the brush in South Texas. And that's what you're going to see from a policy like this. People are going to stop declaring asylum, and people are going to go into the country in more dangerous ways. And then it'll become a true life or death humanitarian crisis, Chris. That's the next step in all this.
Thank you. NBC's Jacob Suproff. Amazing report.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.